This is not financial advice, this is just personal opinion. Let's get into the video. So today I'm going to be talking about the debasement of currency, which is an interesting thing, as well as this wonderful liquidation chart that I'm looking at. Let's get into it. The probability of big liquidation events, and from this you can position accordingly. So right now it's looking quite bearish in that they expect Bitcoin to go down a bit before going back up. So which means our alts will probably face the same issue where it has recovered slightly from the big lows from 2 weeks ago, August the 5th. There may be sideways action until the market stabilizes again. Going into the fear and greed index, it's looking like everything is trying to pump us back into that bull market. Still holding my long-term conviction plays, which on Ethereum is Bobo, Andy, and Brett. On the Bitcoin side, I'm holding Sats in preparation for Fractal Bitcoin, which is coming next month. So a lot of big bullish events all around the ecosystem. And just to be honest, I have seen prices go down by hundreds of thousands within my personal account, even before this bull run. And the first time it happened, it was very scary. But if you hold long-term blue chip altcoins and meme coins in this cycle, for me, I believe that it'll be worth it, and I will be rewarded, especially coming up to November. And I know that there's about $500 billion in liquidity that is going to be injected within the markets, and that will happen right after the election, so November, December. I'm looking to take some profits personally in December, just for Christmas, and yeah, it's looking really good. So when we're talking about debasement of currency, we're looking at the US dollar, as the US dollar is the standard where all assets derive value from, at least in this society that we live in. The economy grows at about 3% a year, and you look at currencies, depending on which one it is, it inflates by about 7% a year. So if you hold your asset in the US dollar, it is guaranteed to lose at least 7% in value every year. So what does that mean? I think that means that within 10 years you lose kind of half the value of your money. So that's why assets are really good. So when you hold your dollars in a house, that house does increase in value, but you have to take into consideration the devaluation, the debasement of the currency that house is valued in. Does it make sense? So it's like my $20 note, it says $20, but it's actually worth $15. Or 10 years from now, it's worth $10. Very, very sick. Okay. The wonderful thing about Bitcoin is, according to people like Michael Saylor, on a long-term horizon, Bitcoin increases by 200%, right? Long-term as in 4 years. So forget about crypto. If you're looking at Bitcoin specifically, you are supposed to look at it with a 4-year time horizon. Anything less is just noise. So what does that mean? It means every 4 years, Bitcoin increases by 200%. So your times 4 your portfolio of Bitcoin every 4 years, which is very interesting, right? It's very unreal. And then we have to consider the fact that you can get loans on your Bitcoin. Now, I have talked about this before. When you're taking a 4% loan to value ratio on your Bitcoin, if it is true that Bitcoin increases in value by 200% every 4 years, let's say average that, every year it increases by 40%. Technically, you can get a 4% loan to value ratio on your Bitcoin, and then use that loan to pay off your debts, not your debts, your food, your bills, and all of that other stuff. And at the end of the loan term, you just get a refinance. Because if your Bitcoin that you took a loan for increases in value, then when you get a refinance or a reloan, right, that loan for 100 grand, for example, it becomes 40% more. So it's like, let's say 140,000. So then with the leftover, you pay off your previous debt and you still have some extra, right? If you want to take it even further, me, for example, I plan, not financial advice, I plan to get that loan and then purchase property with it, and then have tenants live in it, have them pay off the property, and at the end, when I refinance it after, let's say, 4 years, 3 years, whatever I choose to at the time, I can choose to get another loan for another house, right? And at the same time, you still have the same amount of bitcoins. So these are all rich people tactics that I plan to use in the future. I don't have the wealth to do it now, admittedly. And just to be a bit more transparent with everyone else, my portfolio in Andy and Bobo has reduced by 40%, right? So 40% of whatever I've invested into it. That it includes my super. If you're Australian, you know what that is. But am I worried? Not really. What, admittedly, and just to be a bit more transparent with everyone else, my portfolio in Andy and Bobo has reduced by 40%, right? So 40% of whatever I've invested into it. That it includes my super. If you're Australian, you know what that is. But am I worried? Not really. Off, which is completely my fault, and I take full responsibility, is the people who I've introduced into cryptocurrency who are fearful right now, and they're pointing their anger in their losses at me. So freaking funny, right? So like, I had this other guy. He was asking me for his money back because he lost 50% of his incurred losses, and I was confused because I was like, did I hold your hand, open up your CoinSpot account, ask you to press buy? No, I said, oh, I'm going to invest in X coin, and I made a big return on it, and I plan to hold it till 2025. So look, this is not financial advice. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. 2025 is still the goal. Andy, Bobo will be one of the best plays. I have the Ethereum ecosystem, I have mainnet, and I have the Blast net, right? I've already talked about Blast, the number one layer to full stack chain. It has native yield and everything traditional finance wants. So this is not financial advice again, just personal opinion. Do your own research. Catch you in the next one. Peace.